Annyeongbuzz. Welcome back to the channel, your favorite spot for all things K content where we dive into dramas, movies, and everything in between. And today, we've got a big one. I'm honestly so hyped because we're talking about Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. Yes, the live-action adaptation that fans have been begging for, and now it's actually happening. So, the main trailer just dropped and it is insane. Not just because of the high production value or the action, but because of how they're capturing this absolutely wild story. If you're not familiar with it yet, let me break it down for you real quick, and trust me, by the end of this video, you might find yourself refreshing your calendar to mark the release date. The story follows Kim Dok-ja, played by none other than Ahn Hyo-seop. And let me just say, he is absolutely nailing that intense, slightly broken, bookworm-turned-hero energy. In the teaser, he starts by saying, "The story that I loved, the one that meant everything to me, has become reality." Like, chills. Literal chills. He's just your average office worker riding the subway home when suddenly, bam, a freaking goblin appears. And this isn't a cute, mischief-type goblin. We're talking about Baehyung, a creature straight out of chaos, who basically says, "Hey humans, kill something or be killed." And then it's full-on survival mode. Now pause. Can we talk about how genius this premise is? Like, imagine if the one web novel you've been secretly binge-reading under the covers suddenly came to life. Not in a fun, fantasy vacation kind of way, but in a kill or be killed kind of way. The trailer does a phenomenal job showing how Kim Dok-ja realizes that the world he knows, every scenario, every monster, every twist, is playing out for real. And the way they visualized it? Absolutely cinematic, and here's the real kicker. Only Kim Dok-ja knows what's coming. Why? Because he's the only reader. The only person who actually finished the web novel that's now become the new reality. Which means, he's the only one who knows how to survive. Or maybe how to change the ending. What I love about this, and I'm curious if you all feel the same, is that it's not your typical isekai or game-like survival story. There's a deep emotional thread here. Like when Dok-ja says, "With my companions, I will rewrite the ending of this story." It's not just about staying alive. It's about changing fate. Choosing empathy in a system built for brutality. And speaking of companions, let's take a moment for the cast lineup. Yoo Jung-hyuk, the novel's OG protagonist, is played by Lee Min-ho. Yes, Lee Min-ho. And wow, he really delivers that intense, cold-blooded warrior vibe we expect from Yoo Jung-hyuk. The trailer shows him slashing through monsters with this whirlwind of energy, and there's a moment where he literally saves Kim Dok-ja. That chemistry between the two? I'm already shipping it in like 5 different ways. Don't judge me. We also have Choi Soo-bin as Yoo Sang-ah, Shin Sung-ho, Nana, Ji-soo, and others rounding out the main squad. Each one has a unique weapon and skill set, which we see glimpses of during the monster battles. Like, there's this one scene where Nana's character, Jong Hee-won, smashes through enemies with so much force I was like, "Okay queen, who hurt you and how can we thank them?" The trailer keeps this fast pace the entire time but never loses the emotional weight. I was especially drawn to that scene where everyone's just staring at the scenario window, almost frozen. It's such a reminder that while we're getting caught up in the action and monsters, this story is still about people who were just living their lives. And then boom, now they're characters in someone else's novel, with someone else's rules. So let me ask you, what would you do in that situation? If the world suddenly turned into the plot of your favorite web novel, and you were the only one who knew the storyline? Would you try to follow the script and survive quietly? Or would you, like Dok-ja, try to rewrite the ending, even if it means risking everything? Let's talk about that in the comments. I really want to know what kind of main character you would be in this scenario. Are you Team Yoo Jung-hyuk, strong, silent, and deadly? Or Team Kim Dok-ja, clever, strategic, and emotionally damaged in the most relatable way possible? And don't worry, we're only getting started. In the second half of this video, we're going to break down the visual effects, the symbolism in the trailer, and why I think this movie might actually change the way people see Korean fantasy films on a global level. So don't go anywhere, hit that like button if you haven't already, and let's keep going. Let's dive deeper into the second half of this Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint breakdown, because there's a lot going on under the surface of that epic trailer. First, can we just talk about the scale? Like, this isn't your typical manhwa adaptation. This is cinema-level storytelling. The CGI alone is next level. The subway chaos, the monsters crawling across city streets, the giant beams of light coming down when the scenarios are announced. This doesn't feel like a webtoon adaptation. It feels like Korea's answer to Marvel, but with more existential dread and less spandex. And honestly, I think the reason this trailer hits so hard is because it taps into a very real fear, the idea of our safe, boring routines being shattered in an instant. The way Kim Dok-ja gasps for breath when he realizes this is real? That's not just panic, it's heartbreak. His comfort story, the one he escaped into after long days at the office, has now become a battlefield. I think that's something a lot of us can relate to, using fiction as a safe space, and then suddenly being confronted by the harsh realities it sometimes reflects. Now here's something I noticed and I'd love to hear your theories too. There's this subtle theme of choice versus fate throughout the trailer. On one hand, Dok-ja has read every scenario. He knows how it ends. But on the other hand, he keeps saying, I will rewrite the ending. It makes me wonder, how much of this world can he really change? Is knowledge enough? Or are they all just characters trapped in a game that someone else already finished writing? Also, Yoo Jung-hyuk's character, we need to talk about him. Because even though Dok-ja is the protagonist in our eyes, Jung-hyuk was the original hero. And now, he's basically a living, breathing character from the book who has to deal with this reader barging into his story and knowing all his secrets. I'm dying to see how their relationship develops. Is it trust? Rivalry? A little bit of both, and yes, I know some of you are already shipping them. Don't worry, I see you. Now let's move on to something I found super interesting, the weapons. In this universe, each character seems to have a signature item. Shields, swords, glowing spheres of energy, each one tied to their identity and role in the scenario. It's almost like a visual metaphor for how they face the world. Like, Nana's character, Jong Hee-won, fights with raw power. Lee Ji-hai wields a sword like she's been doing it her whole life. These aren't just props. They tell you something about who each person is in this terrifying new world, and don't get me started on the line, we just have to clear up to the 99th scenario. Excuse me? That implies there are 99 levels of survival missions? My guy, this isn't a game, it's a mental breakdown waiting to happen. But again, that's what makes this story so gripping. The stakes just keep escalating. And as a viewer, you're pulled in not just by the danger, but by the growing bonds between these survivors. Now, I know a lot of people are going to compare this to Sweet Home where all of us are dead, or even Alice in Borderland, and I get it. But Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint has something else, this haunting emotional core. It's not just about survival or monsters. It's about someone who loved a story so much, it became his world. And now, he's stuck inside it with only one goal, to change a tragic ending into something better. So here's what I want to ask you all. If you had the power to change the ending of a story that meant everything to you, would you? Even if it meant losing yourself in the process? Because that's what Kim Dok-ja is risking. His knowledge gives him power, but it also makes him alone. Nobody else knows what's coming. Nobody else understands what he's lost. And that loneliness? That's the real monster in this story. Alright, buzzers, final thoughts. This movie looks like it's going to be the perfect blend of action, heart, and high fantasy. And I honestly think it has the potential to become one of the most successful Korean films internationally this year. But what do you think? Are you excited? Nervous? Were you already a fan of the original web novel? Let's blow up the comments with theories, predictions, and of course, favorite characters. I'm Team Dok-ja all the way, but I know some of y'all are going to ride hard for Yoo Jung-hyuk, and honestly, I respect it. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a "Scenario 1 cleared" in the comments so I know you're a real one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our deep dive when the movie drops next month. Until next time, this has been Anyong Buzz, and remember, sometimes reality really is stranger than fiction.